Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Why is the Jurassic Park theme song coming out? Hi everybody, my name is Alicia, and today we're going to be talking about 15 questions that you should know. So these are 15 questions that not necessarily you need to know how to ask them. Perhaps you know some of the questions already, but you will probably also hear these questions as well. So we'll practice a few different answers for these questions too. So let's get started. Do you like American food? The first question is, do you like American food? You will probably be asked this question. Do you like American food? You can either say yes or no, or you can give a specific example. Someone says, do you like American food? Yes, I love Philly cheesesteaks. I would recommend saying yes or a little, or you can just say, I don't know. What do you recommend? Have you been to the United States? The next question is, have you been to the United States? Have you been to the United States? So if someone asks you, have you been to the United States? You should reply with either, yes, I have, or no, I haven't. Or maybe, no, I haven't yet, but I want to. When you want to ask someone this question, you can say, have you been to Japan? Have you been to Egypt? Have you been to China? Whatever. You can use your own country when you ask this question. How are you? How are you? When someone asks, how are you? Don't say, I'm fine, thank you, and you? Please don't say that. Please say something more natural, like good, great, I'm good, how are you? Something like that is much better than I'm fine, thank you, and you. Be a little more genuine in your reply. Also, when you ask this question, maybe one point to help you sound a little more natural when you ask someone else, try to say, how are you? How are you? Instead of how are you? Or, and make sure your intonation is correct. I've had a few people ask me, how are you? Like a little too, like, yeah, with this question, or like, how are you? But how are you should be the intonation with this. How are you? How are you? Is a little bit more natural. How long have you been studying English? How long have you been studying English? How long have you been studying English? Great question to know the answer to. Your answer should be, I have been studying English for blah, blah, blah years, or blah, blah, blah months, or blah, blah, blah weeks. But if that's too much for you, you can just use the time. How long have you been studying English? 6 years. How long have you been studying English? 2 months. So just pick the time if the whole sentence is quite long for you. How old are you? We don't really go around asking people how old they are, like just the first time you meet them necessarily, especially if they're older, much older than you. Like in particular, it's sometimes considered rude to ask, especially women, how old they are. So just be careful with this question. But if you're about the same age group, maybe you're at an event or a party or something and you just want to check how old the other person is, you can use this phrase. When you reply to this, just say, I'm plus the number, to make a really simple response. So how old are you? I'm 15. How old are you? I'm 42. Whatever the answer is, just stick I'm in front of it. Not I, but I'm. I am. But use the contracted form to sound more natural. I'm number. If you want to make a full sentence, you can say I'm number years old. Don't forget that S in years. I'm 1,000,000 years old. What did you say? What did you say? If you couldn't quite hear something that someone else said, you can use this question to confirm. Sorry, what did you say? It's a little nicer than just saying, what? What did you say? Or what did you just say? Sorry, what did you say? I couldn't hear you. What's this? What's this when you don't know what something is? What's this? When you're out for dinner, you're out for lunch or something and you find a new food, and you're curious, just say, what's this? To reply to this question, just say, it's blah, blah, blah. What's your name? What's your name? Of course, you should know how to ask this question and how to answer this question. What's your name is a little more natural than what is your name. Again, contracted form will help you sound much more natural. So what's your name? Someone asks you, you can just give your name. Alicia. That's fine. You can say Alicia. You can say I'm Alicia. That's fine too. You can say my name is, or my name's Alicia. Either, any of those are fine. In a more formal situation, a business situation, I would use my name is blah, 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 while I shake hands or something. What's your phone number? The next one is, what's your phone number? I would not ask this question right away. Like maybe you've met the person a few times, but you'd like to contact them, whether it's because you're romantically interested in them or because you want to be better friends with them. But just if you meet someone for the first time and you're like, what's your phone number? It's like a little It's a little too much. So use this question after you've met the person a few times and you want to become better friends. When you want to give your phone number, just say it's and the number. That's fine. Just it's blah, blah, blah. Or my phone number is blah, blah, blah with the number 555-1,000,526. When is your birthday? So maybe you want to plan a birthday party, for example, or it's just another fun question the first time you meet someone. When is your birthday? So when you want to tell someone your birthday, just give the month and the date. January 15th, August 42nd. That's a real day. If you want to make a full sentence, you can say my birthday is, month, date. Where are you from? The next question is, where are you from? This can refer to your country or your city, but I feel like most often it refers to your country. So where are you from? Your answer should be, I'm from place. I'm from China. I'm from Japan. I'm from Vietnam. I'm from America. Whatever. I'm from bleh. Where did you learn English? The next question is, where did you learn English? Where did you learn English? If you're speaking great English, you can say, I learned English at EnglishClass101.com. Because you did, because you're watching now. Anyway, where did you learn English? In this case, in the case of like these videos, I learned English online, or I learned English from, and then the school name or the program name. So I learned English from EnglishClass101.com, for example. If you studied English at university, you can say, I learned English at university. Or I learned English from my friends, perhaps. Where do you live? Where do you live? Depending on the situation where you're asked this can mean your country, like I live in America, I live in China. Sometimes it's about the place in the city where you live, sometimes it's about the country where you live. So you can kind of feel, I think, which type of question is being asked. Where do you work? Where do you work is talking about your job. You can use the pattern, I work at company name, or I work for company name. Either is fine. I work at ABC Company. I work for ABC Company. Either is okay. But, if you have answered with the wrong information, the other person will just ask you, like, oh, I mean, where is your office? Or, oh, I mean, which company do you work for? Use the force for this one. Where is the bathroom? Where is the bathroom? Very important question. Where is the bathroom? In American English, where is the bathroom or where is the restroom is more common than where is the toilet. Using the word toilet is a little bit too direct in American English, so I recommend bathroom or restroom. So those are 15 questions that you should definitely know. Know how to ask these questions and know how to answer these questions. They are very useful and very important for everyday conversation. Thanks very much for joining us. Thank you very much for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please be sure to do so that you can check our fun stuff every week. With that, we will see you again next time. Bye! If you are a baby watching this video, please contact us because you're amazing.
Did you know my birthday is January 15th before you said that?
No, is it really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah! Thunderdome in my stomach. That's going at the end of a video, I'm sure. Steak.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to Know Your Verbs. In this episode, we're going to talk about the verb see. So let's get started. So the basic definition of see is to perceive with your eyes. So this really means to use your eyes to get information. You use your eyes to look at things, to maybe understand things, to gain knowledge by looking at things. By using your eyes, focusing your eyes on things, you can learn things or gain information, gain knowledge. So this is to perceive. But the basic definition, though, is just to perceive with your eyes, to use your eyes to perceive, to gain information, to gain knowledge. Okay, let's see the conjugations for the verb see. See, sees. Saw, seen, seeing. Let's talk about a few additional meanings of the verb see. First one. To form a mental picture of. To form a mental picture of means to use your mind to create an image. So see has the meaning of creating an image in your mind. For example, I can see my childhood home clearly. It was one story and had a big yard. What do you see when you close your eyes? So in these example sentences, we're not actually using our eyes to see something. In this use of the word see, we are imagining it, and in our minds, we are making a picture. So we're not actually using our eyes to see these items. Instead, maybe they are things we saw in the past, and we are imagining them mentally. We are creating a mental image of something. So when I say, I can see my house clearly, my childhood house, it means in my mind, I can form a clear image of the house in my mind. In the question, what do you see? It means when you close your eyes, what's the mental image that appears in your mind? So see is used to create mental images, to refer to creating mental images here. Next is to examine or to watch. So in this use of the verb see, there's sort of the nuance of an expectation. We want to use our eyes to watch something as it changes, or to examine a change as it happens, to examine a behavior. Let's see how the team does in today's match. I can't wait to see what the neighbors do when they realize we bought a pool. In the example of let's see how the team does in today's match, we are talking about using our eyes, our actual eyes, perhaps, if we are actually watching the match. If we go to the game or we see the match on TV, perhaps we are using our eyes. However, if we don't go to the match and we read the score from the game, or we hear on the radio something about the game, or we hear the results of the game, we can still use the verb see. See has this nuance of examining something. So we're expecting some result. So let's see, in this case, doesn't only mean using your eyes to examine. It can mean to examine maybe the results of the results of something, to examine the outcome of something. In the second example sentence, let's see how the neighbors react. We see the same thing. So it's the same sort of nuance. We are expecting a reaction. We are going to watch for a reaction from the neighbors when they realize we bought a pool. So we want to examine their reaction. We want to examine an outcome. We can use the verb see, though maybe we use our ears. Like if the neighbor says, "Oh my gosh, they bought a pool." That's sort of examining. You're waiting for a reaction there. We can still use the verb let's see, the expression let's see, to talk about that. So let's see what happens next, for example. Next one. To make sure, to make sure. Please see that this task is finished. He saw that all the arrangements had been made. In these sentences, the verb see is used to mean make sure, or to confirm something, to ensure something. In the first one, please see that this task is finished, we could replace the verb see with make sure. Please make sure that this task is finished. So that's a very clear sentence. Please see is just a shortened way of saying make sure. Please see that this task is finished. Please ensure that this task is finished. We can replace the verb here. The second example sentence is the same. He saw that all the arrangements had been made. So he made sure that all the arrangements had been made. In these example sentences, see is replacing the expression make sure or ensure. So we can use see to mean the same thing. It's just a shorter way of saying make sure. Next, to find acceptable or attractive. What do you see in him? What do you see in her? I don't understand what you see in this restaurant. It's terrible. What are the qualities you perceive in that person, or the qualities that you can detect in that situation? What are the good points you identify there? We can use the word see to sort of communicate that quickly and easily. So what do you see in him? What do you see in her? Is a much shorter way of saying, what do you find attractive about him or her? What do you find appealing about him or her? Or what characteristics of that person attract you to that person? Saying, what do you see in him? What do you see in her? Is a much shorter way of saying, what qualities do you find attractive in that person? The same thing in the restaurant example. I don't understand what you see in this restaurant means I don't understand what it is that you like about this restaurant. I think it's bad. So instead, we shorten it to I don't understand what you see in this restaurant. So see means finding something attractive or interesting or appealing in some way. Now let's talk about some variations, so some slight changes or some additions to the verb see that change the meaning. First is see through. See through. See through means to understand the true nature of something, to understand the real characteristics of something. He saw through my attempts to work with him and asked me on a date. My boss saw through my lie and scolded me for faking sickness. So here, we see the use in the past tense in the first example sentence. He saw through my attempts to work with him, meaning he saw the true nature of what I was doing. So he saw through my attempts to work with him and asked me on a date. So in this situation, maybe the speaker, was trying to spend time with the he in this situation and was asking maybe to work together a lot. But he, in the situation, saw to the true nature of the speaker's request, saw the true characteristics or the actual desire there, and asked the speaker on a date. So in this sentence, we understand that there was a different motivation, so something below the surface of the initial action that was happening. So the other person in the situation understood the other motivation, the motivation below the surface motivation. And so we use saw through or see through to communicate that. So he saw through my attempts to work with him, and he understood there was something else I wanted to do. In the second example sentence, my boss saw through my lie and scolded me for faking sickness. So again, we see in past tense, my boss saw through my lie. So saw that I was lying, in other words, saw through my lie. So saw the true character of my lie, saw the true nature of my statement, and scolded me. So my boss understood I lied and scolded me for faking sickness. So I got in trouble because I was faking an illness, faking sickness. My boss saw through my behavior, saw the true character, understood the true nature of my statement. Next is see eye to eye, see eye to eye. This means to have a common viewpoint or to agree. We don't see eye to eye most of the time. I'm glad we see eye to eye about this. So maybe this one is an easy one to visualize. So to see eye to eye with someone else means you agree with them, you share a viewpoint with them. So you can kind of imagine maybe two people standing across from one another, and if they see eye to eye, maybe they match, their line of sight matches, much in the way that their viewpoints or their opinions match. Exactly, exactly. So they have kind of the same viewpoint. They can see eye to eye. So their eyesight maybe matches, their opinions match. So to see eye to eye, we can say, I'm glad we see eye to eye about this, meaning I'm happy we agree about this. Or in a negative, we don't see eye to eye most of the time, means we don't agree most of the time, or we have different opinions most of the time. All right, so I hope that this video helped you level up your knowledge of the verb see a little bit. If you have any questions or comments, or if you know another way of using the verb see, let us know in the comment section below the video. Thanks very much for watching. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good stuff. Thanks for watching this episode of Know Your Verbs, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. We'll see you again soon. We end every video on this channel almost with see you again soon. But of course, I don't actually see you. You see me. We imagine you. We form mental images in our minds of all of you watching in the camera there. All those hundreds of thousands of you guys. That's kind of terrifying. See? That was fun.
Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, we're going to talk about some expressions you can use to talk about your abilities. So I'm going to introduce some expressions you can use for the past, for the present, and for the future. These are just a few examples of some ways you can talk about the things you can, could, and will be able to do. So let's take a look with a few examples of each pattern. Okay, let's start with the first one. I can plus a verb. So here the subject in the sample pattern is I, but we can replace I with, for example, he or she or it or they. The same is true for all of the other patterns I'm going to introduce in this lesson. So we use I can plus a verb as sort of the basic, most simple way to express something we are able to do. So example sentences, I can speak English. My verb here is speak in this case. So this could be something many of you can use. Another example, here I've changed the subject to she. So she can, my verb is run. She can run 5K, 5K meaning 5 kilometers, in 30 minutes. So these are just some simple, very basic ways to express something we can do, we are able to do. Of course, we can use the negative for this. I can't speak English. I can't speak Chinese, for example, or she can't run 5K in 30 minutes. We can make the negative with this pattern too. So this is maybe the most basic way to express something you can do, you are able to do. Let's look at another one. This expression is I know how to plus a verb. I know how to do something. So we can use the same verbs we used in the first pattern in this pattern if you like. For example, I know how to speak English is fine. However, we use know how to do something for something that requires like study or something that requires maybe a process. There are rules for that thing. So a sentence like, I know how to run 5K, it's not quite so natural because running isn't really necessarily a topic of study. Running requires practice, yes, but it's not really something we study. So we use know how to do something for something we have learned how to do. So not necessarily physical practice of something, but we have learned this thing. So some examples, I know how to use Photoshop. So Photoshop is a piece of software, something we can study, something we learn how to use. Another example, he knows how to bake cookies. So here this is something we need to study, in other words. So there's a process to baking cookies. He knows how to bake cookies. So please keep in mind, as we see in this example, when we change the subject from I to, for example, he, she, or it, the following verb, know, needs to change. We need to modify the verb so it has an S at the end. He knows how to bake cookies. So don't forget this S. However, this verb does not change. He knows how to bake cookies. So we don't need to modify this verb. We'll only modify the first one, which is attached to he, the subject. Okay, so this is for a process, something we study to become able to do. Now, let's talk about a couple of past tense examples. So these two are maybe present tense expressions. Let's talk about some past tense example sentences. The first one, when I was a kid, I could, and our verb. So here I've said, when I was a kid. You can change this, of course, when I was a student, when I was an elementary school student, when I lived in a different city, for example. So this part can change to a different time period in your life. However, here I'm using the past tense could. I could. So this implies, this suggests that maybe this action is not possible for you now. Let's look at some examples. So when I was a kid, I could swim all day long. So this sentence sounds like now I can't, really. It's just a simple expression with past tense, I could. So maybe the speaker is going to share some more information about their current abilities. But here I've used when I was a kid. Again, you can change this to like when I was in swimming club, for example. I could swim all day long. So there are a lot of different variations you can use with this pattern. Anyway, let's look at another example. When you were a kid, so maybe if a parent wants to talk to their son or daughter about their childhood, they can use this expression. So when you were a kid, you could sleep for 12 hours straight. So 12 hours straight means 12 hours non-stop. So you is my subject here. When you, therefore, was in my example pattern changes to were. When you were a kid, you could sleep for 12 hours straight. So again, this is a past tense expression. Let's look at one more past tense expression. Maybe you're familiar with used to, used to. So I used to be able to do something. So where the action is a verb here. So here we have used to. So maybe you know I used to followed by just a simple verb. So like I used to cook every day or I used to exercise every day. Here we introduce I used to be able to. This expression allows us to explain an ability we had in the past. So let's look at some examples. I used to be able to speak Spanish. Here's my verb, to speak Spanish. Used to shows a long time ago in the past, I had this ability, but now I do not. So remember, the nuance of used to is that something was true in the past and it is not true now. I used to. Also, please consider the pronunciation here. So not used to, but native speakers connect the D and the T sound at the end of used and to. So it's not used to, but used to, used to. There's just one sound there, used to. So think of it as dropping the D, used to. I used to do something. One more example. She used to be able to babysit, meaning her schedule maybe has changed. Now she cannot babysit. So here we have some expressions with used to talk about a past ability. Okay, finally, let's end with one example, a pattern that you can use to talk about future possibilities or future abilities. So you can use this when you want to make a guess about the future. So something you think you might be able to do in the future. So the base pattern is in the future, will be able to verb. So here I have we in my example, we will. So will is the contracted form of we will, and I've used we. In this case, we means all people, all members of society, we, together. So some examples of this. In the future, we'll be able to use AI technology. AI, so artificial intelligence, AI technology. In the future, we'll be able to use AI technology. So you might wonder, why am I using will here instead of like going to, for example? We use will when we're making a guess about the future that we can't really see. So we can't see what's going to happen in the future. And maybe we don't have such a strong level of confidence. We don't have a super high level of confidence about our guess. In those cases, we can use will. So these are nice to talk about capabilities, things we are able to do, or in this case, things we might be able to do in the future. So this is a sentence you can use to make a prediction, to make a guess. Let's look at one more example sentence. Okay. In the future, we'll be able to travel to space. So here again, I'm making a guess about space travel. So I don't have a high level of confidence because I don't know very much about space travel, but I want to make a guess. In the future, we'll be able to travel to space. If you want to decrease the level of confidence of your guess, you can include I think. For example, in the future, I think we'll be able to travel to space. So you can change the level of your confidence of your guess by introducing some other phrases like I think or maybe. All right, So these are a few ways that you can express your abilities in the past, the present, and in the future. These are just a couple of different patterns to do that. But please be careful. Some things that I've noticed are that often students will mix up the present tense can and past tense could. So make sure to use past tense when you're talking about your abilities in the past. And make sure to use present tense for the things you are able to do now. So please keep that in mind. Okay, so that's all for this lesson. I hope that it was helpful for you. If you have any questions or if you want to try making a sentence with one of these expressions, please feel free to do so in the comment section below this video. If you liked the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good study resources. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
When learning a new language, it's easy to think, I don't think I'm making any progress. What if I never reach my goals? We all get these thoughts from time to time, but are they worth being scared of? What are the fears language learners tend to have the most? And how can you learn to overcome them? Here are the top 4 language learning fears, according to our users. Number 1, I'm not good enough to start speaking yet. This is a pretty common fear or misconception that most learners have. Here's how you overcome it. The best way to get good at speaking is to start speaking from day 1. You need to open your mouth and just start talking. If you think you're not good enough, just focus on the lines you want to say. Number 2, I'm afraid I'll never be fluent. You've got to set small, specific goals. Make daily goals, like having just a 5-minute conversation. As these small goals add up, you'll be speaking more comfortably. Number 3, I'm not making any progress. There are 2 things you can do right now. Use the dashboard to track your progress. Our dashboard shows how much you've accomplished. Or try a harder lesson on our website. The lessons come with line-by-line translations, and the hosts explain everything. Now you can understand something you didn't minutes ago. Number 4, I'm afraid of not understanding anything I hear. This fear can occur when you hear advanced grammar and vocabulary and it just goes completely over your head. To beat this, simply read along with our line-by-line tool. It's the best way to instantly understand advanced conversations. Translations and scripts are right in front of you. For real-life situations, learn useful phrases such as, can you say it more slowly? I don't understand. There's nothing wrong with saying that you didn't understand something. So, these are the top 4 fears and how to overcome them. Luckily, we also have the perfect tools available to help you conquer your fears. Sign up for your free lifetime account, no credit card required, and you'll get the best free online resources. Don't let your fears stop you. Start learning now.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to be talking about 10 ways to ask for help. Help me! Help me ask for help. Let's go. Can you, blah, blah, blah. So, can you give me that pen? Can you turn off the fan? Can you give me a sandwich for lunch? I forgot mine. In this sentence, can you send me your email address? So very simple requests. You can use can you, blah, blah, blah with that. Could you give me a hand with? The next expression is could you give me a hand with, blah, blah, blah. Meaning I need you, like I need your hands to help me, maybe. Or I need something, I need you to help me with something. Could you give me a hand with this computer? Could you give me a hand with this furniture? So you can use it to talk about like moving something heavy, or you can also use it for like a task. Like, could you give me a hand with this report? I don't know this information. So you can use it for physical tasks or for mental tasks too. Could you give me a hand with something? In this sentence, could you give me a hand moving this sofa? Can you show me how to? The next expression is, can you show me how to? Can you show me how to blah, blah, blah?
This means please teach me something. So can you please show me how to use this computer? Can you show me how to use this software? Can you show me how to book a ticket? So these are all ways to ask for help with how to do something. This is a very useful expression, I think. Can you help me out with? The next expression is, can you help me out with? Can you help me out with something? So before we talked about, can you give me a hand with? This is very similar. Can you help me out with some task? You can use it for physical activities or mental activities here. So can you help me out with this project? Can you help me out with cleaning this house? I don't know. In this sentence, can you help me out with my homework? I need help. The next expression is, I need help, blah, blah, blah. So you can use the expression, I need help. That's fine. But if you want to be specific, which I recommend, I need help, blah, blah, blah. I need help with my homework. I need help doing the dishes. I need help cleaning the yard. I need help, something, something, something. Very clear, very direct. It's a little bit casual, I suppose. But yeah, you can use this in most situations where you need help. This sentence, I need help making dinner tonight. Could you? The next expression is could you. So the first expression we saw in this lesson was can you. You can also use could you. To me, could you sounds a little bit more formal than can you. So can you, blah, 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 is a good kind of neutral, everyday way to ask for help. Could you sounds just a little bit more polite, a little bit more formal. So could you please send me that file? Could you please stop smoking here? In this expression, could you send me the project files? Will you? So the next expression is will you. So this is used kind of for light, maybe you just thought of something. You just thought of something you need help with. So it's probably a small task or a small favor that you need. So for example, will you get some milk at the store on your way home? It's like something you just thought of for the future. So will you help me with my homework? Will you give me a moment of your time? It's something very small, very quick. So in this sentence, will you let me know when you're free? How do I? The next expression is how do I? How do I? This is somewhat similar to the earlier expression we talked about. Can you show me how to blah, blah, blah. But this one is how do I? How do I get to the beach from here? How do I get to the station? How do I turn on this computer? How do I make new friends? How do I study English? All of these are ways to ask for help or ask for advice, ask for directions. This is a very nice and easy to remember way to ask for help. How do I? Something. Help. The next expression is just help. I hear sometimes students say, please help me, or just help. And I want to point out that these expressions are usually used in emergency situations. For example, there's an accident, or there's a dangerous person near you, or maybe you're injured or hurt. Some emergency. So please help me alone sounds to a native speaker maybe like a serious situation or an emergency situation. Help is similar too. So, of course, if you're in an emergency situation, absolutely, you should use the words help and please help me, or just help me as well too. But be careful, because they sound very serious, I don't recommend using them for like light, casual, everyday situations where you need help. Instead, please use one of the other expressions we talked about in this lesson. So help is great for emergencies, but maybe only for emergencies. So yeah, in a sentence, maybe, for example, in the kitchen, you have a small accident in the kitchen, you can shout to your roommate or your family member, help me, and they'll come running if something, to check and see if you're okay. I need your help with. The next expression is I need your help with blah, blah, blah. The expression I need your help with sounds like you are required for this task. I need you. Maybe you have special knowledge or special experience with this thing, or you are better equipped, like you can do a better job than I can with this task. So I need you for some reason. So I need your help preparing this information. I need your help reaching that tall glass. Like that's really what like I'm short. So if I need something up high, I might say to a tall person, I need your help reaching that glass up there. You can use this, yes, someone is better at doing something than you are. You can say, I need your help with blah, blah, blah. In this sentence, I need your help with this project. That's the end. So those are 10 words and 10 phrases really that you can use to ask for help. If you have any other ways you'd like to ask for help, or if you have any questions about this video or ways to ask for help, please leave it in a comment and let us know about it. If you liked this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button and also subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed already. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Top Words, and we will see you again soon. Bye!
Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome back to EnglishClass101.com's YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about the difference between speak and talk, two commonly confused verbs. So let's get started. Okay, the first verb I want to talk about is the verb talk. We use talk in casual speech, in everyday conversations. If you want to talk about a simple topic or a casual discussion with friends, or you just want to report a conversation that happened or a discussion that happened, you can use talk to explain this simply and casually. In most everyday conversations, I use talk. You'll hear talk a lot when you are listening to conversations about discussions on the phone. We use it to explain phone conversations a lot. We use it to explain simple meetings with people, friendly interactions over coffee, for example. Talk is used in most everyday situations. So if you're reporting on something that's pretty casual, you should use the word talk to explain that. Also, if the person you are talking to is not someone who you have a professional relationship with, it's pretty good to use talk in that case. If you use speak, you might sound a little too formal. We're going to talk about this in just a moment though. So please try to keep in mind that talk should be used in everyday conversations, to report everyday conversations, and in more casual situations. Okay, we can also use talk, the verb talk, with to or with. By this I mean we can say, I want to talk to someone, or I want to talk with someone. These are, for me, very, very similar. We use them in very similar ways. If you want to be extremely specific, I would say that perhaps there is a small nuance of a difference between talk to and talk with. If I say I want to talk to someone, maybe it could be a more one-sided conversation. Like I want to talk to my friend. I expect my friend is going to talk to me as well, but I feel like that has a little more of a one-sided conversation feel than using talk with. If I say I want to talk with my friend, I want to talk with you about it, with to me sounds a little bit more like doing something together with someone else. So again, this is a very, very small difference, and perhaps this is just my style and how I like to use these words. But for the most part, we can use them interchangeably. We can use them in the same way. And you're not going to really have any communication problems depending on the word you choose. But just for your information, this is how I sometimes use to and with the verb talk, and with speak too, as I'll explain later. Okay, finally, about conjugations for the verb talk. To make the past tense of the verb talk, talk is an start again. Okay, finally, about conjugations with the verb talk. To conjugate the verb talk into the past tense and the past participle, we simply add ed to the end of the verb. So talk becomes talked. This makes past tense and past participle. So a very easy conjugation for the verb talk. So we're going to use this in some example sentences later. Let's take a look though at the verb speak. Okay, So we talked about how the verb talk is used in more casual situations, everyday conversations, everyday discussions. Speak, however, is used in more formal situations. If you want to create a more formal nuance or to have a more formal tone when you speak with someone, use the verb speak. So I just used the verb speak to sound a little bit more formal in this explanation, for example. If you would like to sound a little more formal, try using the verb speak instead of the verb talk. This is really useful in business situations, at work. You can use this in business emails as well, or in any kind of writing where you would like to sound a little more formal. This is more polite than talk, as you might have guessed. So talk has a more casual nuance, speak has a more formal nuance about it. As with talk, we can use this with to or with. So speak to someone or speak with someone. I want to speak to my boss. I want to speak with my boss. Like I talked about with talk, we can use the two pretty much in the same way, very, very similarly. I would say there's a very small nuance. Again, talk to might sound a little bit more one-sided. One person is reporting information, perhaps, and with perhaps sounds more like an exchange of information. But again, this is a very small difference and perhaps just a way that I think about how to use to and with these verbs. But you can use them essentially in the same way, speak to or speak with someone. Finally, there's one other key difference between speak and talk, and that is about languages. When you are explaining your language ability, for example, I speak English, I speak Japanese, I don't speak Chinese, we should always use the verb speak. Please don't use the verb talk to explain your language abilities. So a sentence like I talk French is not correct. Please use I speak French. Speak is the correct verb to talk about your language abilities or to talk about your inability as well. So please be careful there. Lastly, a couple conjugation points about this verb then. So speak in the past tense, speak is an irregular verb. Speak becomes spoke in the past tense, spoke. So please be careful here. Also, to make the past participle form, speak becomes spoken. Have you spoken to someone? I've never spoken with someone. So there are two conjugations we need to consider for today's practice. Spoke and spoken. Past tense and past participle tense. Okay, so now that we reviewed a couple points about the difference between talk and speak, let's take a look at a few example sentences and maybe we can decide which verb is a better choice in each of these. Okay. First one, he's something something to his manager. Our hint word here is the word manager. This implies it's a work situation, so it's probably a good idea to sound a little more formal. Let's use spoke, past tense. He spoke to his manager. Of course, you could say he speaks to his manager, but we don't have much other information here. So maybe a simple sentence, he spoke to his manager, is nice. Let's see, the next one, you should blah, blah, blah to your parents. So here we have parents and also you should. This kind of gives us the feeling that this sentence is maybe a casual advice situation. So how about talk? It sounds more casual, so talk sounds better. You should talk to your parents. Again, talk with your parents is also okay here. All right, let's look at the next sentence. Haven't they, blah, 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 to you about this? So here we have haven't, have not, a negative form here. Haven't they, blah, 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 to you about this? In this sentence, there's no clear hint word. Is it a casual situation? Is it a formal situation? So in a sentence like this, because we don't have enough information about the situation, both talk and speak are actually okay. But we do need to conjugate the verb correctly so that it matches this haven't at the beginning of the sentence. So we can say, haven't they talked to you or haven't they spoken to you about this? Both are correct in this case. Haven't they talked to you? Haven't they spoken to you? It just changes the level of formality of the sentence. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one. I really wanted to something something to you. Again, it's a little bit difficult to determine, is this a formal situation or a casual situation? I would guess I've included the word really here. Typically, really is only used in casual situations, or it's better to use a word like really in less formal situations. So I think that talk is a better choice here. I really wanted to talk to you. Nice. All right, next one. She's something something with clients at the moment. So here the hint is clients, indicating it's a business situation or a more formal situation. And here we have the grammar she is, she is. This implies a progressive or a continuous grammar sentence. So she's something something. Clients gives us the hint it's more formal. Let's use speak. But again, to change it to the progressive form, she's speaking with clients at the moment. Sounds nice. Okay, let's look at the next sentence then. What were they, blah, 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 with that guy about? Okay, so here I've used with, again, we can use to or with, but I've included guy as a hint word here. Guy sounds a little bit more casual. We use guy in maybe more casual discussions, everyday discussions. So we probably want to use talk in this case, a more casual choice. Here we see it's past. What were they, something, something, with that guy about? But we know this should be a past progressive tense sentence too. What were they? This indicates something continuing. What were they talking with that guy about? What were they talking with that guy about? Great. All right. Next one, you guys should have blah, blah, blah about it last week. Again, we see this you guys, implying something more casual. You guys should have. So again, this is probably a sentence where we need to use the verb talk because it's a more casual situation. We could use the verb speak if you like, but again, it's going to sound a little more formal. Here we have you guys, which sounds casual. So mixing casual and formal might sound a little strange. So here, to match our grammar, you guys should have talked about it last week is the nice sentence here. Okay, let's look at the last one then. She's never, blah, 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 to me. So she's, this is an interesting contraction. Be careful. It's not she is never. Never is a big hint here, yeah? We know that never, we use never a lot in present perfect tense sentences. So she's here does not mean she is. Instead, this is the contracted form of she has. So here, she has never something something to me. In this sentence, we don't know if it's a casual or a formal expression, so we can choose either verb. So, she has never talked to me is correct, or she has never spoken to me. She's never talked to me, she's never spoken to me. Both are correct, just depending on the situation and depending on the nuance you would like to communicate, you can choose the better form or the better verb accordingly. So these are a few cases where speak and talk, it might be a good idea to choose one or the other. But I would recommend just keep in mind if you want to sound more formal, please choose the verb speak. If you want to sound a little more casual, use the verb talk. In most cases, we will use the verb talk, but maybe at work it's a good idea to use speak instead. Also, don't forget to use speak to talk about your language abilities too. Okay, so those are a few points about when to use speak and talk. If you have any questions or if you want to try to make an example sentence, give it a try in the comment section below this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more stuff like this. Thanks very much for watching this episode, and we will see you again soon. Bye!